What has the next?
Oh yeah.
Every fighter will like the move up in weight.
Only special talent get to do that. And he's that pound for pound special, once in a lifetime talent that's able to do that.
The impact of his punch as he moves up in weight, it just will not be the same.
This is how you get beat as a great fighter. You move too far up the weight classes.
As I get older, you never know how your body is going to react.
Yeah, we getting it. Oh yeah. We living the dream, baby. We going up.
But I'm confident that I'll be good. I'm looking forward to feeling more energized, stronger. 147 was tough. The last fight was, it took a lot out of me, weigh-ins, but as you can see from me training so hard, my body just bounced right back to normal because, it's used to going through that trauma. It's easy to become champion. It's hard to stay champion.
I thought I would never say this, but Canelo's scared. Literally, I thought I would, as a fighter, I know fighters are not scared. But wow, we've been begging Canelo, please, Canelo, please. We want this fight. I want it as a fan. And I want this fight because it's a great fight for boxing, for the sport we love. Turkey's making the best fights, and Canelo's not giving up.
There have been heated arguments about whether or not Terence Crawford should fight Canelo Alvarez this year. But the big surprise came when Oscar De La Hoya said that Canelo might be avoiding this task, which made fans question his reputation. Oscar De La Hoya didn't hold back while talking Crawford's chances against Canelo. "I think we're overlooking how skilled and strong he was," he said. "And at 154, Crawford didn't really look too dangerous up in the ring." In this fight, De La Hoya's words seemed to poke fun at Crawford's credibility. He said that Crawford's success at lighter weights doesn't make him a threat that could make Canelo nervous. Crawford has shut down doubters many times, but De La Hoya's review makes him look weak when he goes into deeper water. Crawford's skill might not be enough to beat the huge task that comes with lifting more weight. This sentence sets the tone for a story in which size is shown to be an unbeatable trait. Building on his critique, De La Hoya gave a hard reality check, focusing on the age-old debate of skill versus size and how history has rarely sided with the smaller fighter in battles like this. Says, imagine Canelo being the bigger guy and a beast in the ring. It's almost like there's no contest. Really? When did a good guy who was smaller ever beat a good guy who was bigger? It's never happened in the history of the sport, De La Hoya said. It's unbelievable that Crawford could pull off an upset. He made the fight seem impossible for Crawford, focusing on Canelo's size, strength, and proven dominance in higher weight classes, while fans hoped for the ultimate showdown. De La Hoya's doubts added to the controversy. Is this a fair criticism or an attempt to hurt Crawford's reputation before the fight even happens? Either way, the debate rages on, and the stakes keep rising. Just as things seem to settle down, after De La Hoya's harsh assessment of Crawford's chances, the boxing legend said that Crawford not only has a chance, but could beat Canelo every time. This sudden change shocked the boxing community, leaving fans wondering how he could have such faith in the smaller fighter.
So, first of all, I give Crawford all the credit in the world for even thinking about possibly fighting Canelo. But if that fight ever takes place, I have Crawford 1,000%. And people are going to say, oh, well, you're contradicting yourself. I kind of am, but Crawford is also a big guy. Crawford is a big guy who can handle a Canelo because they're the same size.
After playing down Crawford's chances, De La Hoya now makes him the clear favorite. This shocking turn of events has sparked new debates about who really has the upper hand, building even more tension before the possible fight. It's a statement that goes against everything that has been said so far, taking the story to a whole new level. De La Hoya went on to say something even more shocking. He praised Crawford's all-around boxing skills, putting him above Canelo, pointing out Crawford's précis.
Crawford is a guy who punches hard, but he doesn't rely on his power. He relies on his footwork. He relies on his speed, on his change-ups. He relies on his combinations. He relies on his mind. And I believe that Crawford is a way better boxer than Canelo.
De La Hoya's comments cast a shadow on Canelo's reliance on power and durability, implying that Crawford's finesse and tactical brilliance could reveal weaknesses in his game by positioning Crawford as the smarter, faster, and more versatile boxer. De La Hoya has sparked fierce debates over whether Canelo's brute strength alone can survive Crawford's calculated approach. The battle lines in this matchup are now clearer than ever, with skill versus power taking center stage as the debate over Crawford versus Canelo increased. Eddie Hearn joined in with a brutally honest take, questioning whether the fight will ever happen. His comments brought a new layer of controversy to the discussion, suggesting that Canelo himself may not be fully committed to the idea of facing Crawford. This added fuel to claims that Canelo might be dodging a challenge that could redefine his reputation.
I'd be very surprised if that fight happens. I think His Excellency has been pushing that fight. It didn't seem like it was something that Canelo was really up for, to be honest.
Hearn's blunt assessment cast doubt on Canelo's willingness to take on Crawford by saying external pressure rather than personal desire is driving talks. He slightly questions Canelo's fighting spirit. These comments put a spotlight on whether Canelo is truly chasing greatness or simply protecting his career from unnecessary risks, as the buzz around the possible CR versus Canelo fight got louder. Canelo Alvarez himself stepped into the conversation. After weeks of speculation and criticism, Canelo decided to address the claims head-on, offering a response that many saw as both confident and dismissive. His words sent shockwaves through the boxing community, drawing a clear line between his self-assured dominance and the doubts raised by critics, while Eddie Hearn's remarks questioned Canelo's willingness. The Mexican superstar's reaction flipped. The script, painting Crawford as a task he was more than ready to conquer. However, the tone of his statement left fans and analysts debating whether it was pure confidence or an underestimation of Crawford's capability. He stated, "I'm in. Why not? Don't get me wrong. He's a talented fighter, but for me, in my weight class, it's an effortless fight." Easy money. Canelo's bold declaration added a new layer to the controversy, with many interpreting it as both a challenge and a dismissal of Crawford's threat by calling the fight simple money. He not only downplayed Crawford's skills, but also fueled speculation that he might not be taking the possible matchup seriously. Fans are now left thinking if this confidence will backfire or if it's a testament to his dominance at higher weights. Either way, the stakes have never been higher. Canelo's bold statement seemed to silence critics, but Eddie Hearn wasn't convinced while Canelo exuded confidence, calling the fight easy money. Hearn continued to peel back the layers, offering a deeper look into the dynamics at play. His remarks hinted that beneath Canelo's bravado might lie a strategic hesitation, one rooted not in fear, but in concern over the optics of the fight. Hearn didn't stop there, adding more detail to his observations about Canelo's hesitation. His perspective gives insight into the mindset of one of boxing's biggest stars, raising uncomfortable questions about whether Canelo sees the fight as a lose-lose situation. Like, when I've spoken to Canelo before about that fight, I think he's kind of feeling as when I beat Crawford, everyone's going to say I've beaten 154. These remarks suggest that Canelo is wary of the narrative surrounding a possible win against Crawford. Instead of being celebrated, he fears criticism for defeating a smaller opponent. This shows a calculated approach from Canelo, who prioritizes perception over taking risks that could cement his legacy. Hearn's analysis took a sharp turn, diving deeper into Canelo's present preferences in choosing opponents. He suggested that at this stage of his career, Canelo might be leaning toward matchups that fit more with his comfort zone rather than high-stakes challenges. He stated, "And I don't think he wants to be facing guys that are just moving all the time." This statement draws a clear contrast between Canelo's chosen style of opponents and Crawford's elusive strategic approach. Hearn's comments further underline the view that Canelo may be avoiding fights that force him to adapt and step out of his usual fighting rhythm. Hearn kept painting a picture of Crawford's strategy as a direct clash with Canelo's preferences. He highlighted how Crawford's tactical game could make the fight unappealing for Canelo, adding another layer to the debate about whether the fight is truly viable.
When it comes to fight, and Crawford can't really come to fight like that in that fight because he's at a massive size disadvantage and he can't be standing in front of you.
By highlighting the size disparity, Hearn subtly suggests that Canelo might view the fight as being unfairly stacked in his favor. He argues that Crawford's agility and strategy could expose vulnerabilities in Canelo's game, making the matchup less attractive from a legacy standpoint. And considering that this fight would force Crawford into a defensive, survival-orientated strategy rather than allowing him to showcase his true skill, this adds another dimension to the controversy, leaving fans divided over whether Canelo is avoiding a challenge or if the matchup itself is inherently flawed, adding to the heated debate. Devin Haney shared his perspective on the Crawford versus Canelo clash, striking a balance between respect and reality. His remarks acknowledge the greatness of both fighters, but subtly hint at the sheer physical advantage that Canelo holds by emphasizing the challenge of beating him to 168 sounds. Haney added a new layer of skepticism to Crawford's chances, fueled by the narrative that size and power may ultimately outweigh skill in this matchup.
At the end of the day, they're two great pound fighters, and they feel like, it makes sense, and they want to fight each other. Stylistically, it's a great fight. But, Canelo, he's a big dude. And I think it'd be hard for anyone to beat him at 168. But, it's definitely a big money fight, and that's why we're all in boxing.
Haney comments too. Al highlighted the financial allure of the fight, pointing out that the spectacle is as much about business as it is about legacy. This perspective challenges fans to question whether the fight is being driven by true competitive spirit or the promise of a massive payday. His remarks only deepen the divide between those who believe Crawford can overcome the odds and those who see this as an uphill battle to a steep decline. The controversy surrounding this fight continues to grow, with opinions becoming as polarized as ever as the discussion around Crawford versus Canelo continued. Andre Rosier shared his unfiltered opinion, adding a pragmatic perspective to the fiery debate. Rosier, known for his sharp boxing insights, focused on Crawford's challenges in stepping up to a higher weight class and the monumental task of taking on a fighter like Canelo. His remarks underscored the physical and strategic hurdles Crawford would face, raising doubts about whether the fight would truly benefit his legacy. Rosier's take added weight to the argument that Crawford's leap and weight might be more than even a pound-for-pound great can handle, while fans are captivated by the idea of this matchup. Rosier's analysis provided a sobering reminder of the realities that come with such a bold move. He stated the only thing he could possibly do at this point to regain that status is to beat someone of note in another weight class, and I think 54 is going to be enough for him. Rosier's statement highlights the delicate balance Crawford must maintain in solidifying his legacy. He acknowledges the importance of taking risks, but warns against overreaching by stepping too far beyond his weight class, while many see Crawford's ambition as admirable. Rosier paints a picture of a fighter potentially biting off more than he can chew. His remarks cast doubt on whether Crawford's skills can fully translate to a higher division. Rosier's critique didn't stop there. He delved deeper into the specific challenges Crawford would face against Canelo. Focusing on the immense gap in size and power, his perspective reflected the concerns of many in the boxing community who believe that moving up to face a physically dominant opponent like Canelo might be a step too far for Crawford. He stated that he would go up to fighting, quote-unquote, if he should happen. Canelo, I don't see that ending well. It's just too much and too far to go. Rosier's stark conclusion adds a dose of reality to the fantasy of Crawford versus Canelo by calling it too much and too far. He underscores the uphill battle Crawford would face, not just in the ring, but also in convincing critics that he belongs at Canelo's level physically. Rosier's candid analysis strengthens the argument that this fight, while intriguing, might be more about spectacle than a fair contest. It leaves fans questioning whether this is the defining fight Crawford needs, or a risk that could tarnish his legacy. Rosier didn't hold back as he continued to dissect Crawford's situation, shifting his focus to the challenges awaiting him at 154 lbs. Highlighting the depth of competition in the weight class, Rosier made it clear that Crawford's path to greatness is far from straightforward. His remarks implied that Crawford doesn't need to chase Canelo to prove his worth when there's already a gauntlet of dangerous opponents waiting in his current division.
I mean, he's lost twice to the same man. So that can be a situation, or it could be that Usyk just has his number. But until I see him lose to another heavyweight, then I'm going to have to say he still is number 2.
Rosier's comments carry a strong message. Crawford's ambitions might be better served by dominating 154 before even considering a move to fight Canelo. By drawing attention to the stacked roster of fighters, he casts doubt on whether Crawford is biting off more than he can chew by skipping directly to the higher weight class. It's a bold perspective that challenges the idea of this fight being the ultimate test of Crawford's legacy, sparking even more debate among fans and analysts. Rosier continued to add fuel to the discussion, diving deeper into Crawford's situation while acknowledging his exceptional talent. Rosier emphasized the sheer level of competition at 154 lbs. His remark served as a reminder that Crawford's journey to establish dominance in this division is no walk in the park, with several world-class fighters ready to challenge him by pointing to the current talent pool. Rosier subtly questioned whether Crawford's focus should shift to conquering his weight class rather than leaping to 168. This perspective poses challenges. The narrative of Crawford chasing Canelo adds another layer to the already heated debate. He stated, "But I think that's going to be a tough task. There are some really exceptional 154-pounders now, and they keep knocking it out." Rosier's statement underscores the depth and danger of the 154 lb division, painting a picture of a battlefield Crawford must first conquer. His words highlight the significant risks Crawford would face even within his own weight class, let alone at 168. Rosier's view reinforces the idea that Crawford has plenty of challenges ahead without adding the monumental leap to Canelo's division. Rosier didn't stop there. Doubling down on the enormity of the job Crawford faces, he pointed out the staggering gap between 154 and 168, portraying the jump as a nearly insurmountable climb. His remarks shifted. The narrative goes back to the realities of weight divisions, urging fans to rethink the practicality of Crawford's goals. He stated, "So I think, yeah, it would be a monumental climb to go up to 168 when there's so much work in 154. Rosier's blunt analysis paints Crawford's potential leap to 168 as not just ambitious but almost reckless. He emphasizes the stacked competition at 154. He asks whether Crawford is neglecting unfinished business for the allure of a blockbuster fight. Rosier's perspective adds a controversial angle, framing Crawford's move as a gamble that could overshadow his legacy, if not carefully managed as the debate rages on. Johnny Ortiz came in with a blunt, polarizing perspective, firmly siding with Canelo. Ortiz highlighted the natural strength advantage Canelo holds, framing it as an insurmountable obstacle for Crawford. His remarks suggested that Crawford is at a disadvantage not just physically, but also in negotiating power, further tilting the scales in Canelo's favor.
Canelo's just naturally too strong. I don't see Terence Crawford going to 168, and I don't see Terence Crawford having the leverage to make Canelo come down and make him in the catch weight. I think Canelo got all leverage, so all the advantages to Canelo. So I think that's just really a big payday for Terence Crawford. That's all he's looking at.
Orates take added fuel to the controversy, emphasizing that Crawford lacks the leverage to demand a catch weight or force Canelo out of his comfort zone. This view portrays the potential fight as inherently one-sided, sparking further debate about whether Crawford is overreaching or if Canelo is exploiting his advantages to avoid risks. The conversation surrounding this matchup has only grown more divisive, with Ortiz's comments drawing a clear line between physical dominance and strategic positioning in boxing, adding another layer to the heated discussion. David Benavidez entered the fray, bringing his own claim to the spotlight. While the focus has been on Crawford's bold move to challenge Canelo, Benavidez has made it clear that he believes he is more deserving of the fight. His remarks not only shifted attention toward his own credentials, but also questioned the legitimacy of Crawford's bid to face Canelo.
Crawford throwing his hat in to want to fight Canelo at 168.
I mean, everybody wants to fight Canelo. It's the money fight. You know what I mean? I think even Inoue would come up to fight Canelo. Canelo wanted to fight him. I mean, I don't want to see Crawford to fight Canelo, to be honest with you. But it would be. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great fight. It'd be a great fight. But I feel like if I deserve my opportunity, and and after this fight, what else are they gonna say? You know what I mean? This was a tough fight. You know, the top WBC, the top people ranked at the WBC are fighting each other. So I mean, it shouldn't be.
And Benavidez's statement struck a nerve, implying that Crawford is stepping into territory that might not yet belong to him by framing the potential fight as a monumental challenge for Crawford. Ben Aids underscored the risks involved while simultaneously boosting his own case for a showdown with Canelo. His perspective adds yet another dimension to the controversy as fans debate who truly deserves a shot at boxing's biggest star. The rumor surrounding a potential Canelo versus Crawford showdown has sparked one of the most heated debates in boxing today, with experts and fighters weighing in. Opinions remain divided, from concerns about size and power to discussions about legacy and skill. Some see this fight as a chance for Crawford to prove his greatness, but fans worldwide are fascinated. Others argue that the fight favors Canelo, due to his physical advantages and dominant track record at higher weights as the dust settles on these fiery discussions. One question looms large. Will this fight happen, and if it does, who truly has the upper hand? Will it cement Crawford's status as one of the all-time greats, or will Canelo reinforce his dominance as the face of boxing? What do you think? Can Crawford overcome the odds, or is Canelo just too strong and experienced? Should this fight happen, or are there better matchups? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates, debates, and in-depth boxing analysis. Stay tuned for more videos like this.